victims as possible, said prosecutors. His accomplices allegedly procured millions of mobile phone numbers and set up phone farms to conduct call center scams according to the court documents dated 8 October. Two of these facilities had 1,250 mobile phones that controlled around 76,000 social media accounts for scams, the document said. Prosecutors said Prince Group documents included tips of building rapport with victims, advising workers not to use profile photos of women who were too beautiful, so that the accounts would look more genuine. Assistant Attorney General for National Security John A. Isbeg described the Prince Group as a criminal enterprise built on human sufferings. It also trafficked workers who were confined in prison-like compounds and forced to carry out scam online, targeting thousands of victims worldwide. Mr. Chen and his accomplices allegedly used the criminal proceeds for luxury travel and entertainment, said the DOJ. They also made extravagant purchases like watches, private jets, and rare artwork, including a Picasso painting purchased in New York City auction house, the department said. If convicted, Mr. Chen faces a maximum penalty of 40 years in jail. Zainab Mohammed reporting for BeeTv News.
An elite military unit says it has seized power in Madagascar from President Andry Rajoelina following weeks of youth-led protests in Indian Ocean Island. Standing outside the presidential palace on Tuesday, CAPSAT Chief Colonel Michael Rangi-Aruna said the military would form a government and hold.
Rajoelina's whereabouts are unknown, but he has said he is sheltering in a safe place following an alleged attempt on his life by military personnel and politicians. CAPSAT has denied any involvement in any such move. There have been unconfirmed reports that the president was flown out of the country on a French military aircraft. But on Tuesday, the U.S. State Department urged all sides to pursue a peaceful solution in line with the constitutional order. Colra Diariana told the BBC that Madagascar was a country where chaos reigns right now. The unrest began just over 100 others injured. According to the UN, although the Madagascar government has dismissed those figures and described them as based on rumors and information, President Rajoelina, an entrepreneur and former DJ, was once seen as a fresh start for Madagascar. The baby-faced leader became president when he was just 34, earning the title of Africa's youngest leader and going on to govern for 4 years before returning to power after the 2018 election. But he fell out of favor following allegations of cronyism and corruption, which he denied. Despite the fact that power appears to have shifted away from him, he has continued to try to influence events. Rajoelina attempted reveals in recent years, Madagascar keep living below the poverty line, according to the World Bank. Evelyn Izibili reporting for BeeTv News.
At least 16 people have died after a massive fire swept through a garment factory in Dhaka's Maipur area, Bangladesh. Officials say the victims were burned beyond recognition, and the toll may rise as several control, with toxic fumes worsening the disaster. Authorities are investigating whether the warehouse was operating legally and searching for its owners. Outside the charred buildings, grieving relatives waited with photos of missing loved ones. In the anger and fears the fragile ceasefire would collapse, the reports.
Hamas has returned the bodies of 4 more deceased hostages, bringing renewed tension to the fragile Gaza ceasefire. The handover, mediated by the Red Cross, came after Israel threatened to restrict aid until all 28 bodies were returned. Hamas says it is struggling to locate some remains, prompting Israeli warnings of serious consequences for any delay.
Well, we agreed to give peace a chance. We agreed that we should The conditions in his 20-point plan are very clear. It's not only that we get the hostages out without getting our military out, but that we would subsequently have both demilitarization and disarmament. They're not the same thing. First, Hamas has to give up its arms. And second, you want to make sure that there are no weapons factories inside Gaza. There's no smuggling of weapons into Gaza.
A transition plan for Gaza's governance. But disputes over Hamas disarmament, Israel's troop withdrawal, and Gaza's future leadership still stand in the way of lasting peace. Israeli officials insist that Hamas must meet all its obligations before further aid or negotiations resume. Palestine leaders, meanwhile, warn that renewed pressure could collapse the fragile truce. The warning days will test whether the ceasefire can survive or give way to another round of bloodshed. Zainab Mohammed reporting for BeeTv News.
Spain is taking a unique, progressive approach to African migration, contrasting with Western nations, tightening borders and cutting aid. Under Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, Spain is expanding partnership through its Spain-Africa Strategy 2025 to 2028, focusing on education, youth employment, and lawful migration. Madrid recently hosted Afro-Madrid 2025, an AU-backed conference promoting development and justice. Spain also runs secular migration programs, allowing West Africans to work seasonally in Spain before returning home, and funds training schemes in countries like Senegal and the Gambia to reduce risky sea crossings. Despite pressure from the far-right Vox party, Spain maintains a humanitarian and pragmatic stance, seeking safe, orderly, and mutually beneficial migration. Beyond migration, Spain prioritizes Africa's sustainable growth, democracy, and climate resilience, positioning itself as a partner in shared progress, not exclusion. US President Donald Trump has sparked controversy after linking a new $2 billion aid package to Argentina's upcoming elections, warning that Washington will not waste time helping the country if President Javier Milei loses. The reports.
This man because his philosophy is correct.
Trump's remark came as the U.S. announced a $20 billion lifeline to stabilize Argentina's collapsing peso, a move widely seen as boosting Milei's electoral chances. During Milei's visits to the White House, Trump praised his allies' free market reforms and said a socialist victory would end U.S. support. The statements drew criticism for tying American aid to a foreign election outcome.
We're going to work very much with the president. We think he's going to win. He should win. And if he does win, we're going to be very helpful. And if he doesn't win, we're not going to waste our time.
Argentina faces soaring inflation and dwindling reserves, with Milei's austerity drive cutting public spending but worsening social hardship. Many Argentines are growing frustrated with rising living costs and job losses. Analysts warn that if Milei's coalition loses seats, his reform agenda would stall in Congress. Financial
to obtain official confirmation that China was deemed a national security threat at the time of the alleged offenses under the previous conservative government. Both men deny any wrongdoing.
Has been spied on. It is MPs who have been here. It is MPs' offices that have been infiltrated. And as it stands, what we have seen is the payment for spying on what I believe we should be protected. Dan Jarvis.
The opposition leaders, including Kemi Badenoch and Chris Phillips, have accused Prime Minister Keir Starmer's government of a lack of transparency and being too lenient towards Beijing, suggesting a possible cover-up. Labour has rejected these claims, saying it was frustrated by the case.
The managing director of GTL Power Limited, Mr. Bubemi Jakdomi, has congratulated the newly appointed Edo State Commissioner for Power, Barrister Paul Usebo Eige, who was sworn in on Tuesday by Governor Mode Okpebholo. In a statement, In a statement, Mr. Bubemi described Barrister Usebo's appointment as well-deserved appointment as commissioner. He said the amazing accomplishment is just one step on his journey to more greater things and future to come. He said Barrister Paul Usebo Eige's ability to relentlessly search for solutions to problems and find innovative ways to improve humanity is the key to this success and many to come, just as he expressed the optimism that the power sector in Edo State will greatly improve because of its vast experience in the energy sector. Mr. Bubemi said as Barrister Usebo Eige takes on the role as Commissioner of Power in Edo State, he's confident that his passion, commitment, determination, and expertise will bring about the transformation of the power sector in Edo State. The statement concludes wishing the new Edo State Commissioner of Power, Barrister Paul Usebo Eige, wisdom and God's will to deliver to the people of Edo State, just as Mr. Bubemi thanked
God that are about to be commissioned in the sector Center B of Daikiview district will not only ease our transportation, but it will open more corridors for economic activities, residential development, and also social interactions. With this, we have to appreciate all those that contributed and brought these projects to fruition.
The Federal Ministry of Education announced on Tuesday that Nigeria's senior secondary school students in the arts and humanities will no longer need to have a credit in mathematics in their senior school certificate examination conducted by WAEC and NECO as a requirement for admission into universities and polytechnics. For many years, admission into tertiary institutions in Nigeria require candidates in the arts and humanities, just like those in the sciences and social sciences, to obtain 5 credits, including mathematics and English language, in their senior school certificate examinations. However, the Federal Ministry of Education has now revised this requirement. The newly introduced national guidelines for entry requirements into Nigeria tertiary institutions aim to eliminate unnecessary obstacles while still upholding academic quality. Announcing the reform, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tuji Alusa, described it as a strategic move to increase access to higher education across the country. One major change includes removing the compulsory credits in mathematics for arts and humanities students seeking university or polytechnic admission through WAEC or NECO results. In addition, the ministry approved a broader reform of admission criteria for all tertiary institutions, aiming to raise the average annual admission capacity from about 700,000 to 1 million students. The government stated that this Section 221 of the Penal Code of Northern Nigeria. The convict was given a 90-day window to appeal the judgment.
The 90 days to pass without taking any action. Now that the 90 days has elapsed, and now that he has not appealed, it means that it behoves on the Ministry of Justice, as promised to all Nigerians and also the family of the victim, that justice will not only be done, but manifestly seen to have been done in the circumstance. So for that reason, we are putting our facts and figures together. And of course, you know that it is His Excellency, the Executive Governor of the state, as provided by the
bank emphasized that high electricity costs and unreliable supply significantly affects private sector competitiveness. These issues prevent firms from adopting energy-intensive, high-productivity technologies, thereby limiting operational efficiency and job opportunities. Power outages and blackouts were noted to cause frequent business disruptions, contributing lower employment rates. The World Bank cited Commission approves 28 billion for free electricity meter rollout. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has approved the disbursement of 28 billion to electricity distribution companies for the implementation of the second phase of meter acquisition fund. This phase focuses on providing free prepaid meters to all outstanding unmetered Band A customers and accelerating the metering of Band B customers. The initiative is part of the broader presidential metering initiative aimed at closing Nigeria's estimated 7 billion meter deficit. The approved funds will be distributed among the discourse based on their contributions to the meter acquisition fund. Under the operational framework, representatives of the central bank and major commercial banks to appear before it. The committee will assess compliance with current regulations, evaluate existing customer production mechanisms,